Liberated, freed, released, free from traditional social restraints. Sisters, girls or women who share a common ancestry, allegiance, character, or purpose with another or others. Fellow Black women or girls.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace and blessings. Sister Charlene Muhammad here with Liberated Sisters. Welcome to our broadcast, and please share the link for tonight's episode. We have special guests that are going to be joining us. They are surprised and unnamed as of yet, and we also have our dear special panel, our how would I like to call them? The warriors and the anchors of Liberated Sisters. I'm speaking about Dr. Ridgely Mumin Muhammad. He is the manager of Muhammad Farms in Georgia. He is also coordinator of our Ministry of Agriculture and much more. He is a member also of our Nation of Islam research group. And we have attorney Pamela Muhammad, who joins us all the time with her legal analysis. And we want Sister Pamela, attorney Pamela, to do one of her shows, A Time for Justice, as she and Judge Nichelle out of New York have done before. But I'm so grateful that she joins us every week when she can to talk about, as well with Dr. Ridgely, the headlines in the Final Call newspaper and current events. And also joining us tonight as we open up the screen will be our brother Jamil, student minister Jamil Muhammad, and I'll read a bit about him as I bring them in. Minister Jamil is one of today's most insightful observers of the realities of urban life and modern trends. Minister Jamil gives great television and radio insight. Listen, if you haven't heard him on Yardbird Suite or anywhere else, whether he's hosting an event or just being himself talking in general with you one-on-one, you'll learn so much. And I pray that you enjoy his presentation as well as ours tonight, what he has to bring to us. Born and reared in Cincinnati, student minister Jamil Muhammad has been present for or involved in most of the watershed historic events of the last 48 years, particularly as a top assistant to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who is the Nation of Islam. He is the national representative of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who is the eternal leader of the Nation of Islam. And the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is so much more. And the Final Call newspaper, NOI.org, and other historic documents testify to that. Student Minister Jamil has traveled and worked extensively throughout the United States, Canada, and the Caribbean, with time in service in Ghana, West Africa as well. You know, I remember as a young person who was not anywhere near the Nation of Islam as a member, but I was studying, I was looking at the tapes. I remember a very young student minister, Jamil. All of these people that we're talking about now, and more and more and more that we see and don't see, have been instrumental in that for me, as well as many of us that you can attest to. Student Minister Jamil is a hard-driving, inspirational community organizer. He served as a pioneering Nation of Islam leader in cities as diverse as New Orleans, Philadelphia, Baltimore, and Atlanta. In his capacity as national spokesman for the Nation of Islam, Minister Jamil has had meaningful and productive dialogue with many of America's key opinion makers on all sides of all issues. Let's bring him in now. I'm at a studio, so I'm looking left like who's coming near my booth, right? Thank you for letting me say that. And let's bring in our panel, and we will start by giving our reflections on our beloved mother, Khadija Farrakhan, who has returned to Allah. As our guests are speaking and sharing their thoughts, I will endeavor to show highlights from the Final Call newspaper coverage. And with opening remarks, we will go to first Dr. Ridgely, Attorney Pamela, and then Student Minister Jamil. Here we go. Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Walaikum
Walaikum
salam.
salam, ma'am.
Thank you all
Right,
for
right.
gracing Liberated Sisters. And let's begin now with brief opening remarks. We're going to start again. Dr. Ridgely, Sister Attorney Pamela, Brother Student Minister Jamil, and would you all flow right into your reflections on our beloved Mother Khadijah Farrakhan. Then after that, at the 35 mark, I'll announce it. We're going to go into the Justice Report. Full Final Call headlines and current events, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, I was just, again, in terms of Mother Khadijah, I've been at Minister Farrakhan's table a number of times. And Mother Khadijah, I'm not even sure if she's ever said anything at the table. Maybe she has. Brother Jamil, you may remember sometimes, but I do not, very little, right? And, after a while you think, well, maybe she can't talk. She don't talk, right? But when me and Sister Ann visited the farm in 2002, I spent 2 days with the minister talking about farming and agriculture. And she spent 2 days riding around with Mother Khadijah. They went all over the place. So I asked Sister Ann, what y'all talk about? He said, well, I didn't do much talking. It was Mother Khadijah doing all the talking. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, she don't never talk. So I said, okay, I get it now. I'm gonna be careful what I say around Mother Khadijah because she be picking up stuff. She don't be talking, but she be listening. So I be very careful when I'm around Mother Khadijah because she is the another eyes and ears for Minister Farrakhan, and then she'll go back and give him her report on us. So very, very careful. But that struck me very. Well, no, I didn't do much talking. Sister Ann said, I didn't do much talking. It was Mother Khadijah that did all the talking. I said, okay, I get it now. I'm going to have to watch what I say
Yes,
and act around Mother Khadijah because it will get back to the minister. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Attorney Pamela, Sister Attorney Pamela.
Yes, ma'am. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
It's good to be here and, see you all your beautiful faces. And so as, my comment on Mother Khadijah would be, of course, her beauty and her impact. I always saw her as our first lady from afar and, just the most beautiful woman. And I think, so I would say her impact, at her transition, the amount of people that around this country and the world, not in the nation, who have commented on her passing and, just really feeling so heartfelt wishes to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and his family. Her passing has just been tremendous. So her impact was so huge. I think her designing, as a woman and her designing, just being at the forefront of this industry of modest clothing that we have today and how she was so integral in heading that, that is to be of note. And then lastly, I would say the Children's Village. That's it. That's what I have to say, because I think as a woman going to Savior's Day, raising children and having this, activity, the children, we want to do workshops, the children, but Mother Khadijah with her Children's Village, I have to just thank her, forever and ever, because what she did is she put those children first. She put the focus on the children, because so many times as adults, we want children to sit at the children table, at the little children table, while we do what we do. But Mother Khadijah, she put the children at the forefront as they should be. And the children just, that was so selfless. That was so, important, that was so family oriented. It helped us to civilize our children, giving them science and technology and fun and all of that. So I just have to thank Allah for Mother Khadijah and her work as a pioneer and just as a impactful woman that she has been for us in the nation. We got to keep studying her for years to come because
okay.
so much in that woman. So, again, my condolences to the Honorable Minister Farrakhan and the entire Farrakhan family on the loss of this great, great woman. So,
thank you. Thank you, Sister Attorney Pamela. And there is she.
Thank you.
Now, I want to just go back a little bit and see that bottom frame right here. It's just, I think, one image from the village. There's so many more that, of course, we have in the archive and that are publicized. But thank you, student Jamil.
Thank you.
Thank you, sister, and assalamu alaikum to everyone. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim.
That part.
We start out right, we're going to end up right, huh?
Thank you.
As we reflect on Mother Farrakhan, I'm just moved to express how completely ubiquitous and omnipresent she has been among us for so long that many of us may be tempted to fall into the habit of taking her for granted. That would be a mistake because as we heard at the Janazah and as we have begun to reflect from the expert, wonderful coverage in the Final Call newspaper and even in some other media outlets that we might not expect.
Yes.
Mother Khadijah Farrakhan is a figure who will live far beyond the return of her to the earth. What I mean by that is that for me, and I only was around her for maybe the last 46 years or so, and in and out of social settings, at the table with the minister, on the road with the team traveling. Mother Farrakhan has always been a prime example of the high civilization and refinement of the MGT and GCC. No question about it.
That's right.
She has always been hospitable and warm and kind to me and to many others. I can't help but reflect how grateful I am to the Farrakhan family, particularly her children, some of whom are my contemporaries in chronological age. They shared their mother with us. They shared their father with us. And Mother Farrakhan would sometimes, as you're right, Dr. Ridgely, she would observe what you were doing, and then she would just tell the minister in a matter-of-fact way, and you could get it now. Wow. She would say to the minister, she would say to her husband, Brother Jamil's not taking his medications on time. He's been out on this road for 2 months.
Okay.
We've been before, and I see him sometime at 6 p.m. when he's supposed to do that, but he's on some other job. I don't even know if he does it at all. Wow. And the minister will look up and say, "Is that true, brother?"
What love?
And then I would have to say, I may have missed a dose or two, brother minister. And he would say, "Don't miss anymore." Then as I was backing out of the room, she would look over at me like this. That's how a loving mother does her children.
That's right.
Farrakhan took my children and grandchildren into her loving embrace at the children's village and wherever else she saw them. I had to remember during the janazah, I'm going to be brief, but my children saw her as a grandmother.
Don't be brief. Get it.
No, but I just have to say, no, she was such a wonderful, wonderful woman. I loved how she loved her husband. One of the things that Brother Ridgely and we saw at the table many times is that as the servers brought his food to him at the head of the table while he was teaching, she's scanning everything that goes in front of her husband.
Come on.
If he's supposed to have a glass of whole milk, but they bring him a ginger ale,
come on now,
she'll tap it with the fork.
Come on now.
And they have to take that and replace it. Now, she's not interrupting what he's doing, but she's running the whole show.
Right.
At certain times when the minister would be giving of himself after having lectured in a major hall, then come back to the dinner table and answering questions for another 2 hours.
That's right.
Mother Farrakhan would look up, and if Joshua, her son Joshua, may Allah be pleased with him, if he wasn't there, she would look at me. And I knew what that meant. It's time for everybody to get up out of here. I would take my napkin and put it on the table and say, well, Brother Minister, thank you for your kind teaching to us tonight. But I think we've kept you long enough, Brother Minister. It's time to go.
That's right.
At the end of all of the charity rallies on the road, and you know, Sister Pamela, you know that you all the young folks, you all, you know, y'all in your 20s, you might not remember this, but I would have to go travel with the minister and raise the charity offering in some of the cities. And there was a routine to that. And it involved security, it involved reporting, it involved consistency. And at the heart of that routine, without going into what all it was, Mother Khadija Farrakhan, always making sure that things were locked down. In the early days of the rebuilding, back in the early 80s, I remember she was the minister's top administrative assistant.
Come on.
Teach.
It was she who pioneered, along with her daughter Betsy Jean and Sister Aliyah, who used to be Sister Adrian from Chicago. They pioneered the processing department.
Come on.
Wow.
Even though we had to wait months to get letters as they built it back up returned, we had written for our exes and we were waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. But they finally got it to us, and all that work was happening from right there on 94th and Damon on the south side of Chicago in the Beverly community. And at the heart of it all,
Tell it.
Mother Khadija,
That's right.
constant support of her husband, the first one to stand with him in the rebuilding, to say, I'm with you. Out of all his family, she said, I'm first. I'm with you, brother. I'm with you, dear husband. I'm with you, Minister Farrakhan. And so for me, the loss is profound, but what is even more profound is the great joy of gratitude. Allah for allowing me to walk a few steps along this road with such a giant as Mother Khadija Farrakhan. I thank Allah for her, and I thank Allah that we are able to recognize her. Why don't we go on in her spirit? Why don't we continue in her way? Why don't we keep up the good work that she taught us to do and trained us to do? While her husband's teaching the world, she's helping to develop the Muslims who would take this message to the four corners of the earth. So I thank Allah for that teamwork. And I just pray, like the minister said, that all of us as men would have a woman in our lives like Mother Khadija Farrakhan. And I pray that all of my daughters and granddaughters would have a husband who would love them in their way, in the same manner that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan treasured the woman that he called my sweetheart. He called, and I watched him at her 90th birthday party. When she came in the room and the minister was watching her, you could just see his eyes lighting up. Ooh.
Let me get that.
I mean, I could almost hear his eyes saying, "Hey, girl," because that love still is there. And at her 90th birthday party, of course, we did that in honor and support of the Mother Khadija's Children's Village. We're going on in that. And you'll hear more about that in Manhattan, of course, at the Town Hall Theater on August the 7th. Sister Maria Farrakhan Muhammad putting on that benefit. And we're not going to stop. Mother Khadija lives because she lives in us. And her beauty will not die. We will not let it die. She lives.
That's right. Look at Mother Khadija. Thank you, Brother Jamil. Thank you all for that. Look at her. Look.
Yep. Queen. Straight up.
That's right.
Oh, look at our mother. When we went to the what do we call it? The wake. Well, in the Catholic Church we call it the wake. But she was lying in state. The view. She looked like this. Just was laying. So beautiful. Thank you for lifting up her 90th birthday and their love and joy. Does anyone want to add anything? I have a lot to say.
Go
So I
ahead.
don't say
Go ahead.
anything.
Go ahead.
I just thank Allah. I'm just gonna succinctly say I thank Allah for allowing me to even lay eyes on Mother Khadijah Farrakhan, lay eyes on her husband, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, to know their names, to be a follower of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad under
Mm,
and through them.
That's right.
Really, the minister and mother. And it's just so much. I'm still processing, still full. But at the end of the day, to be able to be a follower and to be able to not just say, but to actually do the work of those who say we are with him and her and them, meaning the great Mahdi, the great Messiah, the Messiah, and Mother. For as Brother Student Minister Ishmael Muhammad, Minister Farrakhan's national assistant, said once,
that's right.
you know, and repeatedly, without her, we wouldn't have a nation.
That's
That's
right.
right.
So as you all have said without repeating it, because of deliberative dialogue, right? And
Mhm.
space saving, I just want to say that I think that this is the way that I would like to say my reflections, which is to make space for you all and people to do that. And this is around two coming off of last week. I returned to Morris Media Studios, which we will do that. And I think I'll be doing live shows there with studio audience. But at the end of the day, I wanted to come back and make sure that continue to just uplift her. And so, any one of you listening to the show, if you want to put your reflections in the chat, feel free. But I'm not, I just am in awe and continue to pray and lift the family in prayer.
Mm,
And I would be remiss if I didn't say, as we know also now, our dear sister Aziza Muhammad, known affectionately as Mama Judy. I'm
yeah.
sorry, Mama Aziza,
Yes.
has made her return to Allah as well. And
Yeah.
there are others within the ranks and as well as our families who are so. Share those if you can get them to us, and I will endeavor to display their photograph. But we keep all of our families lifted in prayer. Does anyone want to say anything on Mama Aziza as we transition into Brother Jamil's announcement, which I will make as well as the justice report? Go ahead, Brother Jamil.
Well, I have to tell you, sister, I promise I thank you all for allowing me to be here with you. This platform deserves a full throated hearing on this broadcast. And I want to make sure that I, defer and yield back the balance of my time to the gentleman from Georgia and the gentlelady from Texas. But I want to make sure that as we remember Mama Aziza,
Mm-hmm.
we're remembering a real soldier. I am like you, many of you, at a loss for profound and elegant words. I won't wax eloquent tonight, but I will tell you that's my sister, and I loved her. And she's a fighter, a dignified woman, a loving and proud Muslim. And again, for me, the main thing, like it is with Mother Farrakhan, an MGT. She adored her husband. And I'm proud to be one of the few people, maybe there's only a couple of hundred, who have actually seen them do the hustle on the dance floor and they could get down. Okay. They could dance and they were great people, wonderful, charitable people, kind people. I was blessed to officiate a wedding in their home a number of years ago. And the wedding party was constantly flowing, Sister Pamela. It was people coming and going for 2 or 3 days. And we just had a good time being together with Grandmaster, Mama Judy, Sister Joy, the family, all of it. It's just a wonderful opportunity to have known my sister. And so as we prepare to celebrate her life and give her her Muslim rites of janazah, we thank Allah for allowing us to be with her as well. No one of us stays here forever, but Allah is not guilty of an injustice against us. He has not done us wrong nor double crossed us. He has merely called back to himself what was on loan from him in the first place. And when he does that, we thank him for allowing us to experience the sweetness of that person's character, which lingers with us just like the taste of the peppermint that we have at the service. So I'm very, very grateful to have known Mama Judy, and she was a stickler for correctness, just like you, Sister Charlene. I have to say, I want to thank you for earlier in the broadcast when I sent you that bio that I had. It had a mistake in it. You saw it and corrected it before I didn't even notice it, but it had a mistake in it because the editors called Minister Farrakhan the leader of the nation. But we know that he does not go by that.
That's right.
I know that. You all know that. But it was caught by my sister, even though my editorial eye didn't catch it when they initially wrote the bio for me. So I thank Allah to be on a team like this team. And if I'm getting ready to fumble, you scoop up the ball and run it over the goal line. That was the kind of person Sister Aziza was too. A hard worker, a charitable, kind woman. And I'm checking on my wife tonight. She's in some way because of that. But we're going to check on Sister Tisha. Y'all keep her in your prayers as well as all the family. We love them and they love us.
Yeah, and I thank you for that. And I was trying to, there are images that have been shared. And so I wanted to show that as well. So Dr. Ridgely and Attorney Pamela, if there's any statement that you would like to make also about Sister Aziza, Mama Aziza, please feel free. And yes, thank you, Brother Minister Jamil, Student Minister Jamil. Prayers and condolences to Grandmaster, the family, their children, the team. But do that, Dr. Ridgely and Sister Attorney Pamela, if you will, because I want to get her photograph that the family, that the team has put out. Thank you.
Well, I'd like to give my condolences to Grandmaster and the family. However, me being down here in the woods, I have never met or talked to the sister. I've only seen her from a distance. But I have condolences to the family, and I hear them from you all, what a great help she was to her husband. But unfortunately, I never really got to know her.
Yes, sir. And me as well, I would like to give my condolences to the family, Brother Grandmaster. And what I've seen, I did not know the sister as well, but the outpouring of love that I have seen on social media from the sisters alone, as to just seemingly a warm personality and a very genuine sister, it's really showing her strength. And so, again, my condolences to her family, as well as I believe she has a daughter. And, I just wanted to also add and prayers for their strength, during this difficult time. I did want to say, if I could, about Mother Khadijah. There was one article in the Final Call, Sister Charlene. I just wanted to add this. The article in the Final Call entitled "A Woman of Consequence, Compassion, and Principle," Mother Khadijah Farrakhan, a woman of consequence, compassion, and principle. And I thought that article was so beautiful. It starts off with a comment from Cora Masters Berry, the wife of Marion Berry of Washington, D.C. And she told a story about how she was coming to tell the minister something difficult regarding her husband's health. And she made the comment that Mother Khadijah comforted her. And she said that Mother Khadijah was calm and faithful. Those were, she told her that she offered two guidance principles, faith and calmness. And Miss Berry said she'd never forget that. And I just thought that was so important, because being calm. The article is entitled Mother Khadijah. It's in this July 21st Final Call. And it's entitled Mother Khadijah Farrakhan, a woman of consequence, compassion, and principle. And that part about being calm just really stood out to me, because she did appear calm, and and faith, of course, being, just a principle that we all need. But, being calm. And I ran across an article, and it's entitled "How Calmness is a Superpower." And so it's like Brother Jamil said, we need to take on some of these principles and characteristics and try to emulate them, and be patient, be calm, be faithful. I just thought that was so important, as this person referenced that as being some of the principles that she saw from Mother Khadijah Farrakhan. And I just wanted to mention that.
Thank you. And that article is written by our beloved sister Nisa Islam Muhammad, our staff writer out of Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Maryland area. I had the picture of Mama Aziza, Sister Aziza up, and I do want to thank you for that. I do want to kind of just put that there again, just for a moment, so that people could see. I didn't want them to mistake that. I didn't want to mistake that image as go ahead, Brother Jamil, being Mother Khadijah.
Can we just say one thing about Mother Khadijah on the image that's on the screen right now? You'll see. I just want to give credit where credit is due.
Yes.
Is she rocking that fur with the fur hat? Or
yes.
Yeah.
Is she? I mean, Winnie Mandela. I love you, Mama Winnie. I do. Okay, and everything is great. Sister Claudette, you just took it to another step with the chinchilla. But Mom, in the white cream colored sable, with the brim hat,
beautiful
in their own right, each of them.
Yes, indeed, each in their own right. And of course, Father Flager, we see you, we love you, we support you, my dear brother. We know that you're under attack, but you stand strong, hold your principles, keep on rocking 79th Street. We love you. And everybody in this picture is beloved to us. And we don't give a damn what the enemies say about any of them.
Yes.
Enemies, you can kick rocks, enemies.
Yes.
Well, Brother Jamil, people ask the question, why do white people hate Black people so much? And when you look at that picture, and then when you see Mother Khadijah on her 90th birthday, you see why they hate us so much. It's just because we are beautiful.
That's right.
And we stay that way as long as we eat right and stay calm, don't get crazy. We look good until the very end. We don't fall apart, flaking off, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We still be looking good. And therefore the people who are made weak hate the God that made them and the God that made us.
That's right.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. I'm staring at the picture too, but they're so royal. Yes. Look at Mother. You're right. Well, okay. So in light of what's planned, now Minister Jamil.
Ma'am.
I'm sorry. You gave me something. Let's segue. Well, I really do want to go back to Mama Aziza if we could, everyone.
Yes,
that the image that because I put one from her Facebook page, and that's okay because that's her page.
Yes.
However, there is one that is being circulated by that's official, and it's that one. Mm-hmm. So there's our Grandmaster Aziz with Mama Aziza, and so her services public viewing Monday, July 20th at Leek and Sons Funeral Home, and on Tuesday the visitation and the janaza, and of course the interment will be at Oakwood Cemetery. What Mama Aziza has done for me is she made me realize, and may Allah be pleased with her and thank her, that national training was not just for the I used to say the soldiers, because I understand now too how I am that and how what are my tools and how I do that. But for the actual vanguard, the Fruit of Islam, the student captains for captains retreats, etc. Like the front line actual fighting warriors. She made me understand that it's for everyone, not just within the Nation of Islam. And I think it might have been at least 3 or 4 years ago, maybe 3, that I actually got it and started going. Now I've been going and in a coverage capacity, and a beautiful sister asked me one time, "Sister, when are you going to get on the mat?" But I found it difficult to put down the phone camera or the recorder or the notepad. But I think in honor of Mama Aziza this year, I'm gonna get on the mat. So Sister Pamela, let's go get on the mat and train.
Yes, ma'am.
So we're not milling to fight. But that's what she did. And she that was for me. But beyond that, I mean, there was more than that. I mean, to be able to, in her right, as we're talking about Mother Khadija Farrakhan and her role for our Nation of Islam, and with her husband, our beloved father, then Mama Aziz as well with Grand Master. I mean, just imagine, I can imagine what it would take to carry and help with national training like that and be a part of it and to co-build that. And so to all of those who are so close to her personally, because I know she has a personal team, like you're saying, Sister Pamela, the sisters, that are impacted. My prayers, and also me, as I'm, the electricity is kicking up in my body, just our prayers for our nation at this time. And so, as we segue to your segment, Brother Jamil, I want to also thank you for opening in the name of Allah, verbally, publicly. I do it sometimes inside, but thank you. It needed to be said. So I'll remove that. But look at them. And at the green, look at Mama at the water. Wow.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Look at their love. All praise is due to Allah. All praise is due to Allah. So I will take that out. And now, if any of you have any questions for the panel in the chat, feel free to ask them, and we'll put it on the screen. So Brother Student Minister Jamil Muhammad has a one-man show, a one-man play that is being directed and produced, if you will, by our beloved sister Margaret Mahdi of the Mahdi Theater Company. So Student Minister Jamil, would you mind taking us into just how did this come about? And I would like to put up what you shared with me so we'll have the visual, okay?
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. We'll talk about it. I am grateful for the opportunity to share with other people and make room at the theater that night. But I have to tell you, this is a completely, I'm not Billy D, and this is certainly not Code 45, but it's a completely unique experience. I've never, the older ones understand that was Billy D, that was the tagline for Coke 45 malt liquor, a completely unique experience. But this is truly in a righteous, I know y'all don't know, but this is in a righteous sense, a completely, right, yes, a completely unique experience. I was approached by Sister Margaret Mahdi, who, by way of transparency, is the daughter of my dear brother Benny and Sister Diane Muhammad, and they grew up with my children, Sister Margaret and her younger siblings. They were like cousins to each other, and so when I see her at the National Training Conference last year, right there that Mama Judy was administrating for our Grand Master, and she says, "Brother, I need to talk with you about something." I said, "Sure, Margaret, what's going on?" She says, "I need you to do a one-man play." I didn't want to be rude, Sister Pamela, but I did laugh at her and say, "You got to be kidding." Like, no. And so I kind of went away. She came back a few days later and reiterated her idea, and I figured she was serious. And so I said, what does this mean? So we talked about possibly developing it, but I guarantee you I wasn't serious about it. I kind of pushed it on the back of the table. Margaret kept going. She would talk to me in conversations that she was doing what the Scientologists call in the process of Dianetics, straight wiring me. She would have conversations with me, then she would remember stories and vignettes from my life, and then she came back to me with a skeleton script. And we began to develop this skeleton script. And here we are today, about a month and a half out from showtime. I have a script in my hand. I study this like a Bible every day. I read the script. I'm trying to get the lines down pat. I'm understanding the problems of geriatric thinking processes. I'm learning all that. But I have to tell you that it's exciting to be able to do this. And I'll leave the subject by saying I was at the janazah. See how all those events tie together? I was at the janazah for Mother Farrakhan, and in the repast at the Salam restaurant, I was seated behind the minister and Stevie Wonder as they had their exchange. And then one of the security brothers told me, say, brother, stand over there. It was Brother Benny, actually, Sister Margaret's brother. Go stand over there. Yes, sir. Because when the security tell you to do something, you should do that. I get up and go stand on the other side, and I'm about maybe 15 feet from the minister. And he's preparing to leave out, and he turns his head and sees me, and then he does this. He says, one man show. One man show, one man show. And I'm blown, right? Because I'm like, how do you know about that? I go over to him, I greet him, I kneel down and I greet him, and we begin an exchange. He says to me, he says, brother, I said, how do you know, brother minister? He said, brother, I hear things. So we started laughing. I says, brother, he says, brother, I'm so proud of you and happy for you. He says, you working with Sister Margaret? Yes, sir. He says, I want to be there with you. Now, I can't tell you all that the minister's coming to Brooklyn. I can't tell you that because number one, I don't know. Number two, if I did know, I wouldn't tell you because I didn't have permission.
That's right.
And number three, it takes a lot to move the minister around the country, and I'll understand if he isn't there.
Right.
But I know that his heart is with us because what he said after that was, he said, brother, we're spreading Islam in ways that are non-traditional. And the reason why I want to be there is I want to celebrate that victory with you and your team.
Praise be to
What? It's going to be a victory, brother minister? Oh,
right.
brother, yeah. And so we had a few other words, certainly condolence over the departure of Mother Farrakhan and our conversation. But the minister, what touched me, family, was that I'm going there to present him with words of condolence and solace and comfort and prayer. And before I can get that out, he's encouraging me. Something that I may not have ever done. And I'm telling you, I'm a novice, so don't get there and come there looking for Sir Lawrence O'Blackie. You're not going to see Richard Burton. You're not going to run into none of the other ones. You might run into Edward G. Robinson a little. I don't know. But whatever it is, it won't be professional stuff. It'll just be me in the story, which it says there on the flyer, a powerful one-man theatrical experience, blending humor, music, history, drama, and what's the other one? Divine inspiration.
Beautiful.
That's a whole lot to put in the gumbo. But we hope to serve it up hot. August the 29th and 30th. There are some tickets left for each day, so that's good news. But the link will be in the chat a little bit later on. I'll put the link in the chat so you don't have to blame me and get mad at me if you run out of tickets. But we are going to do that. Well, I thank you, A. Muhammad.
That's right.
007. Oh, wait a minute. That's A. Muhammad. 00. Don't.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's not. I thank you for your assessment, but it's more than just a notion. I have so much great respect for the Mahdi Theater Company and for Sister Margaret as a director and producer of live theater. I would be going over my lines with her, and she would say, okay, I hear you, but I don't feel you. Start again. And then she said, I feel you a little bit, but you didn't take me there. Start again. And so the discipline of the theater, okay? I may not ever be a professional thespian, but I definitely will certainly respect those who do this every time I see any production being mounted, So I'm like, the beginning of Looney Tunes every Saturday morning. No more rehearsing and cursing our part. We know every part by heart. You know, we're trying to get. Wait, y'all didn't see Looney Tunes when you?
I did.
Well, I saw Looney Tunes.
Okay,
Yeah.
that what I just did was okay. So my singing is very limited in the play, but we have musicians and singers who will back up the play. There's projections, professional set design. This is something on a level at the historic Billie Holiday Theater in Brooklyn.
Beautiful.
When they took me to the area backstage in the green room, it started to dawn on me because on the wall, the signatures of past performers in the building, you start seeing Amiri Baraka, Ruby D, Ossie Davis. Huh? You started seeing Bernadette Stannis. So when I saw that, naturally I had to genuflect. You know, I grew up in the 70s. So this is all happening. Ma'am?
Is that Thelma?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. You know, so when you see these names on the wall and you see the folks who have come there to score plays like great musicians and jazz performers and the folks, Robert Hooks and those people that come up out of the theater, you saying, and I'm going to stand on that stage. So I'm trying to get it together. I'm trying to get it together and really do something that will make you all proud. We have folks who are dealing with the VIP accommodations and the hotels. I'm just not one of them. I don't do the hotel piece and the travel piece. But if you come to New York, I can guarantee you that even if everything else isn't what you want to be, you probably can get a good slice of pizza, okay? In a Brooklyn. Okay, you're going to get a good slice. But for me, I'm just so honored to have the support of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, the support of Brother Minister Ishmael, who came last Saturday. We were talking on Closing the Gap. Did you all see that? So Brother Minister Ishmael, he thinks we're just playing around on a video conference with the family. So he comes up and starts joking, right? And I go, no. We're on the actual program. This is going out around the world. He goes, what? He sits down and he indicates his loving support for the activity in Brooklyn. Be there if at all possible. And I say this to those of you who would not have to get hotel accommodations. If you're in metropolitan New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, make sure Maryland and Washington, D.C., come on up. Take your family to a night at the theater and enjoy this one-man play, which is designed to be more than just a night at the theater. This is not vaudeville. This is not hoofing. This is not us out there doing, Honey Coles or Pig Meat Markham. We're not doing the Nicholas Brothers even. We're doing something for Islam that will take the message to people who may not receive it. Some of the people who may not ever visit the mosque because they think we wouldn't welcome them. Community folks from Brooklyn, people whose lifestyles are a little different than ours, but they are people. So we're going to say something to them that reaches out to embrace them without being cornball and staid and stiff and that kind of thing. I'm going to try to keep all the cussing out of the play. I'm going to try to keep all the cussing. I'm working on it. On it. I'm working on it. But we're going to make sure that we do all the things that are necessary to tell the story. And it is a story. Sister Margaret wrote it masterfully.
Wow.
And I've never seen the whole process, but she built this thing like Noah built the ark. She built the planks and the structure of the script and then filled it in with the boards of the dramatic presentation. And now she's about to float it on the sea of public opinion. We pray. And we pray that it will be a successful voyage. August 29th, August 30th, Brooklyn, New York, at the Billie Holiday Theater, 1 Fulton Street, right there in Bed-Stuy, the same neighborhood that gave you the notorious B.I.G. That's Smalls for some and Christopher Wallace for others. But that same neighborhood in Brooklyn that gave us all of that great cultural history will be right there in New York. And Sister Margaret is guiding us well and properly. If you need to see it online, I'll put in these hashtags. You can see what they are. But yeah, it's going on. Anybody have a question about it? I'll be glad to answer if you have a question.
Dr. Risley may have one, but I just want to also mention, please, everyone, as you go to the eventbrite.com and you track this, supporters, sponsorships, all of that, any way that you can support this one-man play, please feel free to do so. You can start doing that now at hashtag MACD Theater Company. Go ahead, Dr. Risley. Were you going to say something?
Yes, to Brother Jamil. Brother, you know I'm tired of being poor. And
Yes.
since you, I know,
Yes, sir. Yes.
You go put on a show and you go get the dough.
Well, we do we pray Allah that your prediction comes to fruition, my dear brother. We are working. This is so new to me, though, because what we do at the rostrum, and brother Dr. Risley, I've seen you do it as you toured the country on the staple goods tours and teaching us about agriculture. You have a set planned lecture, and sometimes the Spirit will move you in a direction to teach in another way based on the teaching to the crowd that's there. You have to do that, and I think that's familiar to us. But the idea of discipline to a particular script, trusting that the script will not make you canned and rehearsed and stiff. But if you follow the script in the right way that you're being directed, I may not ever be Sidney Poitier. I may not ever be Denzel. Heck, I might not even be Rudy Ray Moore. But I'm trying to do something here that will make a difference in the theater for the people who come out and spend their dollar to support what we're doing for the nation. Because you do know that a portion of these proceeds go to where? Mother Khadijah's village.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I didn't even know where. See, you might have said that before, but I didn't track it.
No. I mean, but we don't make that public because we don't know yet the amount or percentage, because we got to make sure we succeed first.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to give Mother Khadijah's village a portion of nothing. So, I mean, we got to get something to make it happen, and we tired of being poor, and we got to give it show. We got to give it show, and that way we can get the dough, Dr. Rizzi. That's how.
I'm excited. I'm excited about it. When I saw
in the jungle deep, the lion stepped on the signified monkey's feet.
Oh, you do awesome, brother Jamil. You're natural. We can't wait. Right. Well, I love those little pictures. I gotta say, on the sign, the little boys, the pictures.
Well, that's me. That's me. That's
you. Okay.
That's me in the FOI starter kit. Bow tie and the white shirt. That was from the yearbook, the yearbook called the Bearcat at the University of Cincinnati in the year 1966 was when the yearbook came out, but that demonstration was in 1965. And my father took me out with him. I wanted to go out with my father, who was the Cincinnati chairman of the SNCC chapter in our city.
Wow.
Before that, he had been the chairman of CORE in the city. And my father was a well-known Black radical, a rabble rouser, and that kind of, and I'm proud to come from that tradition. We were demonstrating against unfair practices in contracting contracts for builders in the city. They were building an elementary school in the heart of the Black community with nobody Black working there. So we were demonstrating there, and that was from the yearbook in 1966. And then the other picture with the fro right on.
This is fascinating.
Yeah, that's the ninth grade at Walnut Hills High School. We'll talk about Walnut Hills in the play too. Cincinnati with an integrated legality and a segregated reality. And that's how those cities were in the Midwest. It was an iron fist with a velvet glove on it. They wanted to project that their city was great, mid-America, but to live there as a Black person, you had to rumble every day. And so we're going to talk about those things and how radicalization doesn't come from a conversation with somebody who's way out on the left field. No, the radicalization that we experienced was the radicalization of our conditions. The radicalization, we were radicalized by being poor and Black and hopeless and hungry and degraded and turned away. So you want to know why I'm a Muslim? I thank Allah for his coming in the person of Master Fard Muhammad. That's why when I went to the mosque that day in 1969, at mosque number 5 in Cincinnati, Ohio, and heard Islam. I was a youngster, but I said, I'm with this. And so far, Allah has blessed me to keep my word and to be with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And so we are going to share all of that in Brooklyn that night, August the 28th, 29th and 30th in Brooklyn, New York. And there are some tickets. And yeah, there are some tickets still remaining. I'm trying to figure out, I don't know all the pricing structures, don't ask me about it, but it's cheap. We made it cheap compared to Broadway because we are not the Broadway crowd. You know, we're not even the Broadway crowd that Dyke and the Blazers and Wilson Pickett was talking about. That Broadway is a different Broadway than the one downtown in New York. I know that me and Dr. Ridgely ain't the only one know what I'm talking about.
Can I ask Brother Jamil a question?
Please do. Make it your show. You know that.
Is it any black song that you don't know about?
I'm sure there is. I'm sure there is. Because there's some black songs I might be familiar with, but I damn refuse to sing. I'm not going to think, nobody know the troubles I see. I'm not doing that. I'd rather have something to make me pop my fingers and get up and be energized and live and make progress. But the one song you may hear on this day, it has lyrics to say, before we came to America, we were living in the East by the Nile River.
Go ahead.
In luxury.
Go ahead.
Freedom, justice, and equality.
Go ahead.
We wore silk and robes and slippers of gold. We were the wealthiest and the wisest people, I'm told. Now we are the poorest of the poor. Nobody wants us at their door. Ah, my friend, it's easy to tell. White man heaven is the black man's hell.
Okay.
You might hear something like that. I don't know. You might. But let's hey, let's just say it's gonna be an experience. We're gonna be like Shorty Long on Soul Records 1966, with subsidiary of Motown Records. Shorty Long said it's gonna be a function at the junction. He said, then baby, you better come on right now. You know, because we have, Ling Ting Tong from China and Long Tall Sally from Carolina. We got 007, the Private Eye, and he's bringing all the guys from I Spy. Everybody gonna be up in there. You got to make sure you're there. You got to, because it's an event that hasn't happened, and I make light of it because I'm so happy about it. But it's dawning on me how significant this is. I'll be the first Muslim student minister to be on stage in a theatrical production since 1959. The last time that happened was the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in the play Organa, a Negro spelled backwards.
Right.
3 years prior to that, he had written and produced the play The Trial in 1956. There have been some mounting of different dramatic projects, but this time they took me out of ministry class and sat me out there on the stage and said, now do your thing. And if the minister say I can do it, I feel like I can do it.
It's done.
I'm the boy on the playground that's surrounded by bullies, but when my daddy come on the playground, I turn into Muhammad Ali. That's how it is.
That's
so
right.
We're gonna make it happen and do what it do. I'm going to have the spirit of Allah present with me, and I'm begging you to pray for me like I pray for you, and we're going to make it happen. We're going to have some musical recollections. Y'all know who this man is right here. Sister Charlene, don't tell him. Y'all know who that. Y'all can't see it.
How can we get it? Make them see it? Because I
don't know how to zoom in, but I'll give you. I'll give it away.
I can do it. I can get you.
You can zoom in on that? No. What? Oh, now you can see him. Now you see him? Sister Pamela, you want to take a shot at it?
Y'all see him?
That's our Duke Ellington.
That is exactly who it is.
That's it. That's what I'm looking for.
That's Mr. Edward Kennedy Duke Ellington.
Yes,
One of the greatest composers in the history of world music and a dear friend of the ministers.
Wow.
When they met in the early 70s, when Duke was playing a benefit concert for Muhammad University in New York. We were opening the new Muhammad University, as I understand it, in the Bronx, New York. And the Duke Ellington Orchestra came to play there. The minister attendance. And at the end of the concert, the minister, so moved by the music, the beauty of the expression of Black people at high levels of their creativity, he went over and grabbed Duke's hand and kissed his hands.
Oh.
And Duke Ellington pulled the minister up and kissed his cheeks.
Mm.
And said, I should be bowing to you.
Mm.
You carry that word of God.
Mm.
See, we got heroes everywhere in every field of endeavor, and the Islam that we carry grants us entree to circles we may never have sat within. It sits us at tables where we never would have dined. It brings us into rooms that we might not have ever entered, but we are with Muhammad and Farrakhan, and therefore we win. The spoiler alert is the Muslims win in the end.
That's right.
That's
You
right.
better believe it, buddy. You better believe it.
Right.
That's
Brother
right.
Student Minister Jamil, as we transition to our next segment, thank you for all that you shared. And that last line brings me to what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said at Mother Khadijah's janazah. The repast. Actually, he said that she has opened doors and made friends for him and us and pulled the cover off of him. And so you made me think about that as we began and we opened speaking about our beloved Mother Khadijah Farrakhan. Yeah, he said that at the repast. So these friends endorse. Okay. I don't know if you could hear me, but we're going to go on to the next segment. Can you hear me, Brother Jamil?
I can hear you, and I'm just excited. I was sitting there and I heard him, and I thought about him. He said something. He said, "This is the hardest day of my life."
Yeah. Yeah.
And at another point in his talk, he said, "When I leave here, I'll go home and I'll be alone in my bed for the first time."
Empty bed. That's what he said.
He said, "I'm going home to an empty bed." He said, "And I'm going to be alone until God takes me."
That's right.
What kind of love is that?
Said that.
When you follow Allah and obey Allah through all the various situations and circumstances that Allah took their life, their lives, their marriage, their family, Allah brought them to the point where they stayed together. And she was the defining, loving interest in his life. I mean, think about that. Brother Dr. Ridgely, that's what Al Green was talking about. He said, let's stay together. Whether times are good or bad, happy or sad. He said, come on, let's stay together. That's right, Sister Charlene. That's it.
Oh, did you hear me? Oh, my bad.
I can hear you.
I thought it was like this.
Let's stay together. I heard you. But see, that's the way that love, that info. And when you come around them, you fall in love with them, with life, with God, with yourself, and with your spouse. You'll look across the room and say, this love thing is all right.
That's right.
And you start remembering things, because like the old poet once wrote, all the world loves a lover.
That's right.
And when you smile, the whole world smiles with you.
That's right.
That's what it reminded me of, Sister Charlene, that the minister was there, and the power and love that he showed. It's just amazing. It really is.
Thank you. My head was down. Apologies, you all. I was looking for some photos. I thought I was going to share some photos. I decided not to. Yet again, the final call, we have our coverage. I'm just going to keep my photos where they are.
Yes, ma'am.
So thank you, Student Minister Jamil. Thank you, panel. We're going to transition now to the Justice Report. Please support it. MacD Theater Company hashtag, and follow them online and buy tickets. And please, I think the call was made the other night. Despite the amount, if you can share to help support it, we do appreciate that.
Yes, ma'am. And the link is on my page. It's on Jamil Muhammad. You just go there and you can click what's the name of the company, Sister Charlene?
MacD Theater Company.
Oh, the name of the ticket people. It's,
Eventbrite.
That's what I was going to say. You click that link and it'll connect you to Eventbrite, and you can get the tickets for you and your family. Y'all get clean and come on out there that night. It's going to be more sharper than the Players Ball, you understand, but righteous, And we're coming out to do what we do, to show the civilization and culture of the Nation of Islam. Thank you for having me, dear panel, dear staff. Liberated Sisters, there's nothing like it in the world of news and entertainment. Nothing like it.
All praises due to Allah. Thank you for helping to make the show and the presentation. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Yes.
I'm
Welcome.
excited. This is gonna be off the chain because I know I always just would see the funny side, except when he would be teaching of student minister Jamil. But I also know that I was fascinated as a young believer coming in and training and still student of journalism through the Final Call newspaper, how he just had a grasp. He reminds me of brother Minister Abdullah, formerly John Ali, may Allah be pleased with him, who just had the facts. Even in the line of a Minister Akbar, just a brother Jamil would just, whatever city, he just had the history, and he would speak when he would be opening for the lectures or the conventions, what have you. And I was just like, wow, that's pretty interesting. That's pretty exciting. So with that said, we're going to segue now to the Justice Report. And I do want to say, that's right. Here's John Shabazz. That's right. Abdullah. What was I saying? We do have, we pray later in the show to have some special guests to come on and talk about some of the current events in the Final Call newspaper happening in the world, especially around police misconduct and some of the shootings of our people. And so right now we'll go into those headlines and I'll pull the cover up. But do any of you want to speak about something that has impacted you thus far in current events as I get that up? Because Sister Pamela, you spoke about the coverage of Mother Khadijah, but I want to go into the current Final Call headlines. We have one on the weather, which I was blessed to be a part of the team to write about that. And speaking of which, we saw the extreme weather.
Yes, ma'am.
The dark clouds for Mother's janaza.
Oh, right.
We got out of Mariam and was beat back in, if you will. And then also shootings in Mississippi and calls for boycott of baby Cohen Wiley. And then we have one of our brothers, Brother Nolan Wells, but I need to pull up and make sure I have his name correct, but who you spoke about it, Sister Attorney Pamela, with me recently, who went out on Horn Island with friends, Caucasian friends, and they came back and he didn't. And there's a lot of suspicion of foul play. Attorney Benjamin Crump and others are on that case. And reminder, please, if I may, Brother Attorney Benjamin Crump is not a criminal attorney, folks. He is a civil rights attorney. And so there are different parts that these attorneys play. And so when we hear that wayward cops, rogue cops, or vigilantes have gotten off, if you will, with some of the egregious conduct in these shootings and maiming of our people and others, because as we see, it's increasing now with poor white and, of course, our indigenous family, which is original family. That is not on him. He and Attorney Lee Merritt and others like them, they are not criminal attorneys, but they do team up, and they also, those cases relate to each other. 9 times out of 10, what's happening in the criminal affects the civil and vice versa. And I would also like to say on that, there's a young woman, a young mother in the Southern California area. I'll just say that. I like what she shared years ago, and she continues to say that in the killing of her son. She actually did her civil case first, because that's where all of the discovery, all of the data, all of the information about what happens comes out. And then, so Attorney Pamela, you can speak to that, because we have the attorney present, but I remember covering that, and she said they had to give her everything in discovery, but she really talked about that. But a lot of times, families have to do what they do. And I remember being able to, once upon a time, call and get a police report and then speak to investigators and X, Y, and Z. Not anymore. Families have been waiting long time. Some get it right away. So when we see, in my observation, that when these cases happen and police, law enforcement, whoever reporting agencies or the officer involved agency starts putting out video and starts putting out tape and starts talking, then they're not doing that for the people, in my opinion and observation, because otherwise it would happen with all of the cases. It's getting in front of something. But again, we have the attorney here. I'm going to get the final call newspaper. But what are your thoughts about that, Dr. Risley and Attorney Pamela? And I'll be back.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So, Sister Charlene, I think to sum it up with what we're saying with all these unjust behaviors that we're seeing, it brings to mind the minister's article in the final call called Justice, the Watchword for America, as she continues to suffer ever increasing calamities. So as you started off by talking about the weather and this record breaking tornadoes and hurricanes, all the flooding, it is directly tied, as we know, to the fact that justice is not being served. The minister says in his article, justice is that great principle of fair dealing. And he goes on to talk about how America, you're not dealing fairly with American people. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan talks about how the great principle of fair dealing, justice, it's the weapon that the God would use in the judgment of the world. And I thought this was very interesting because the minister asked the question, how does justice become a weapon? And he quotes the scriptures on how, as thou hast done, so shall it be done unto thee, in the book of Obadiah. And he goes on to talk about in Hosea how you sow the wind, but you reap the whirlwind. So all the things that you have done around the planet, they're going to come back home to us. And I think the reality, Sister Charlene, is that we have so much wickedness, so much injustice. The events surrounding Nolan Wells, the young 18-year-old who was found dead in Mississippi, under these horrible conditions, these suspicious situations, this is furthering unjust. This is wicked. It reminds you of the Emmett Till situation where this 18-year-old, I think in Sister Anissa's article, one of the things that stuck out at me, July 4th, Nolan Wells visited Horn Island, and apparently his body shows up on July 6th at 8:45 a.m. because he didn't come back with the people that he went there with. But I think one of the things her article mentions is how this young man was last seen. He went on July 4th, and perhaps in the article it says he was last seen about 3 p.m. And so I thought, as a lawyer, that, potential timeline piece of evidence is very concerning, because somebody is saying that he met with foul play immediately, or whatever happened that led to his death, it occurred right away. So this, is just a horrible situation. And like you say, the police officers in a criminal case, oftentimes they're working with the state. They're working with, and so they should be unbiased. It should be about representing the state, representing the family of the victim. But oftentimes, as we know, these police officers, they've been members of the Ku Klux Klan themselves. The judges, they're wearing robes, and they do sometimes have interest in protecting the people that they may be close within these communities. I remember as a young lawyer going to court early, going back in the judge's chamber one morning with a bunch of lawyers. And that judge was telling what we call in jokes, the N word. And that was showing, this is who he is. This is the community he's a part of. You get on the bench. You may not be as unbiased as what you're supposed to be, because we know this racism has been deep. One of the things in the article written by Sister Anissa, I believe Sister Anissa Muhammad wrote, this young man, he lived in a community called Ocean Springs, Mississippi. This is where Nolan grew up. And it's 80% white. and only 8% Black. And so, again, with the history of Mississippi, and we know that why would the young men that he went with, if they, why are they acting in such a way that they just shut down the whole investigation? They lawyered up and they're refusing to have any conversation, but this was your friend. One of the young man's mother went online, what do they call it? Deactivated her social media, but then made this, what they call self-serving statement as to, well, she said the friends left the island and Nolan decided to stay. And, so she makes this explanation that looks like it supports these other people. Well, come forward. Why are you hiding? I mean, it's just a tragedy as you watch these parents crying over the loss of their baby. And, and I just want to say that just as our young brother Carmelo Anthony, who was convicted, and we think that was an unjust conviction. He's appealing it now. But these are babies. Yeah. This young man was 18 years old. Carmelo Anthony barely graduated from high school. So to see this attack on Black youth, coming so hard, this is just not justice. And I just wanted to just leave by saying so many articles in this week's Final Call deal with unjust behavior. We've got the embargoes on Cuba. Dr. Ridgely, I wish you could tell us more about that, because, a person like myself, born in the 60s, I did not know about the history of what they call embargoes. I didn't even know what an embargo is, but I had to look it up, and it's like an official ban on trade, either commercial or economic activities. So this country of Cuba has been suffering. These people are dying by this deliberate action that all of Africa and the world are saying this is unjust America. And, there are several other articles. I won't take up any more time, but the Final Call, you don't know what's going on in the world unless you read the Final Call. It is the best newspaper on the planet. So I just kind of wanted to share those two things, because I know, Dr. Ridgely, this Monsanto piece where the Roundup lawsuit, looks like it's being invalidated by the courts. That's another example of injustice in the world right now. So yes,
thank you. Yes, and thank you so much, Attorney Pamela. And as you do that, Dr. Ridgely, to your recollection, could you address also, we know the newsmaker, we get the headlines before the headlines. And so as we see what's taking place right now, and as we're reporting on it for Cuba, we're not unguided on that issue. And we've been given guidance about that in terms of we meaning those who are fighting for justice, those who are calling on the powers that be to lift that embargo. We've been given away by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, but you take whichever parts you want to jump into at your convenience or your leisure.
Well, why is America continuing to have this embargo against Cuba? Cuba is 90 miles from Florida, and it's an island, and it had a nerve to take over their island from the gangs out of Chicago, who was running the island, who was running the president. He was their puppet. And the Cuban people underneath Castro had a nerve to take over their island. And they can never, they got to make an example out of you. They got to make an example out of you. They got to make your people turn against you in favor of them to justify what they did. So, but Allah is just, and I'm going to say something. I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings, but you need to know that one of the reasons why Americans are suffering from diabetes and liver problems is because when America put an embargo on Cuba and refused to buy Cuba's sugar, Cuba's sugar was one of the main sources of sugar for America. And you know, America has serious sweet tooth. But what they did to replace the sugar, they took the corn and made high fructose corn syrup as a sweetener that they put in everything. And it's been proven that high fructose, sugar has glucose and fructose. But high fructose just has fructose and no glucose. And fructose cannot be easily digested in the system. So what America has done to her own people is to poison them with fructose instead of giving them sugar, but it's not altogether that good for you, but at least you can digest it. But fructose you cannot digest. So the big payback, and they're still punishing Cuba, and they still have the embargo on Cuba because they hate the fact that Cuba decided to take control of their own land. But America, you're suffering because of your country's wickedness. You're being killed because of your country's wickedness. Not in a spiritual way, but in a very, very direct way. It's spiritual that is direct, but it's directly related to your activity. And sometimes when we say the storms and that and the other, you can say, well, it's just a matter of a meteorological incident. It's just, okay. But in this case, with the diabetes and liver problems and heart problems, is caused by high fructose corn syrup that's directly related to some wickedness that America did to Cuba and is still doing to Cuba. Now, I want to go down to Cuba to learn more about what they're doing. I went there one time, but now you can't get down there because they don't want us to know that there are people who have thumbed their nose at America and survived. So I'll end with that. I was going to talk about the data centers, but we'll talk about that at a later time. But Cuba, what they did to Cuba, the American people are paying for right now.
I think it's important to talk about the data centers as well, Dr. Ridgely, and thank you so much because these things are connected. Whether we know it or not, they're connected. And so we definitely want to make sure that you get to raise the points that you are talking about. I've been looking at what's happening with the data centers, and thank you for what you shared on Cuba and the sugar, etc. But I've been looking at that. It seems like all of a sudden, I know it wasn't, but by the time people looked up, it appears that it was too late. They're saying that, and I'll pull that article up, but they're saying that the data centers are causing nausea, a lot of different adverse effects. But you say what you want to say. I'll pull the article to support it. And thank you.
Well, in this article, they're talking about the noise and how it affects people and the vibrations. But the real deal, I mean, that's a real deal, but as quiet as it's kept, the data centers are using up a lot of fresh water from underground, from the aquifers. And when I was in the year 2000, when I was in Arizona, they said that some cities in Arizona only had 50 years to live, because they was going to dry up the underground aquifer and they will have no water. And without fresh water, you can't have a town. So, but now they're using these data centers that suck up so much groundwater. It's almost like they're trying to destroy America from within. Mr. Farrakhan has warned us from the 1974 Kissinger Memorandum 200, that they have asked all agencies of the government to participate in their depopulation agenda. All these things are part of their depopulation agenda. Why? Because this is the rise of the black man. Therefore, they have to destroy the black man because he's no longer willing to be their slave. And if they must destroy the majority of their own white people, they don't care. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has taught us that when Musa went to the caves and raised up a segment of them, they were supposed to go back and raise up their other brethren, but instead they used their other brethren as cattle. And so they enslaved both black and white, and then get the black and the white to go against one another, and have used the white goyim cattle to take land and resources from the black, enslave us, and now they don't need them anymore. They're getting ready to set up a digital jail. That's what these data centers are all about. Setting up a digital jail, they can track every move you make and then decide that you're no longer useful, and then they're going to take away your credit card. They're going to take away your plastic. They're going to take away your ability to buy food, to travel, and just wait on you to steal something. Because you can't eat, you can't drive nowhere, then you're going to steal something. And they got surveillance cameras everywhere, so then they go pick you up and charge you for stealing and throw you into a prison, which would be a slave camp. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has warned us. Minister Farrakhan has warned us. And now we are seeing what we've been warned happening right before our eyes. And I pray Allah that Allah blesses us to survive this war of Armageddon, because we're in the middle of it. It's not to come. We're in the middle of it. Mr. Farrakhan said Armageddon started when Master Farad Muhammad started teaching the truth in 1930. Okay? We're in the middle of it. Thank you for bringing that up. That's the agenda. 200 from 1974 by Kissinger. Okay? They have been working on this, not just planning this, but working on this agenda ever since. Okay? So that's what I have to say on that. Thank you.
Yeah. You can't.
Sorry about that. Any follow-up to that?
Yes, ma'am.
Because it was out of your question before we go to the next.
Yes. Well, yes, ma'am. And you know what? And I think the joy that I got at the beginning of the show was to talk about truth, you know, really triumphing as we listen to Brother Jamil talk about the show that he's going to be distributing. You know, the good news, the truth is spreading. We look at our beloved mother, Khadijah Farrakhan, and their work with her beloved husband, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and we see the truth. We see the dressing. We see the decency and good triumphing. And so I really had a great feeling earlier, you know, before we went to the justice report and all the wickedness, because we always remember that the truth is prevailing and will prevail. I think, as Brother Jamil said, you know, we know that good does triumph over evil in the end. So it's really a war. And if you still want me to tell you about the difference between the civil case and the criminal case, I think you raised that. And, you know, just to give you a little feedback, you were mentioning how Benjamin Crump's, Attorney Crump's role as a civil attorney is a very different role than what you see in a criminal case. Because in a civil case, what these families are saying is that we've been damaged. You know, our child has been murdered. There's been some wrongdoing. And for that, we want civil damages as a result. And oftentimes, of course, that is the money, or that even is the justice of seeing the truth being revealed. And in a civil case, you do have a lot more tools to get the information, because you can do what they call discovery, and you can take depositions. You can request whatever you want to request. You know, you're not confined to like a Freedom of Information Act or some kind of stonewalling, because if you have a lawsuit, then you have a right to know what these facts are. So a lot of times the tools that are used by civil attorneys can give more illumination of the facts. They're not as confined, because in a criminal case, as we saw with Carmelo, you know, they're going to hide behind the need to protect their case. And oftentimes that just stonewalls the public as to what's really going on. Sometimes they really do hide the facts, you know, that the public needs to know. So someone like Attorney Crump is actually seeking the, revealing of the evidence, to see what really happened, to get these parents' questions answered under the civil rules of procedure, which give you a lot more flexibility in getting information. So,
thank you. And
yes.
there's our brother Carmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf, the person that he is admitted to killing, and why. Go ahead, Dr. Ridgely.
Well, he was convicted, like you say, he was convicted of murder, because we say it was self-defense. That's all I'm saying.
Right. I just said I only said what is reported, that he admitted it, and I said and why.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And why. Well, go ahead, Dr. Ridgely. Thank you, Sister Attorney Pamela.
Yes, ma'am. Don't do a lot.
In terms of a civil case and a lawsuit, I didn't know too much about the justice system until I got involved with the Black farmers and their lawsuit against the government, the U.S. Department of Agriculture. You talk about discovery. Well, what they did was they did a consent decree. It didn't go to trial. Therefore, there was no discovery. And even though there were 6,000 pages of research done to prove that the U.S. Department of Agriculture had discriminated on Black farmers in the time period of the lawsuit, they brought in a Jewish lawyer, because they got rid of the Black lawyer, the Black farmers' Black lawyer. They debarred him, so he couldn't practice in D.C. So then it was given this other lawyer who was Jewish and who used to work for the Department of Justice. And they all got together, the lawyers on both sides, and accepted a consent decree that the farmers did not see until it was accepted by the judge. And since there was a consent decree, there was no discovery. And then they demanded that each individual Black farmer prove that they were discriminated against. But because there's no discovery in the consent decree, they could not get the records of the white farmers who got the money that they were supposed to get. So therefore, they had to guess at who it was. And of course, they say, nope, he didn't get it. Can I see the record? Nope, can't see the record. So no matter which way you go, when it comes to justice, we must remember who has set the whole system up. Okay? It's the Jews, the Judeo-Christian system, setting up the system of justice that was designed not to give us justice.
That's true.
So I commend the efforts of our lawyers. But you're working in a rigged game. And until we have a territory of our own where we control the economics, the justice system, and the lawmaking system, we're going to continue to have these type of situations. Because even if you set up a business, they can simply zone you out of business. They can have a decision down at the courthouse, not the courthouse, I'm sorry, at the what's the kind of mayor, and then you got city council, right? City council, the mayor, they can write a law.
Wherever they do that at, yeah, that's what I was saying. Wherever they do it, the ivory tower.
and all of a sudden you can't do business there anymore. And you know, in time of business is location, location, location.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So all of this, the positive note on all of this is that Black people now are getting to a point where they're ready to accept the reality
That's true.
that no matter which way you go in this system, you're going to lose because the whole system is against you. And you need to separate and do something for yourself. That's the end game, the end result of all that's going on. More Black people now are going back to farming and gardening. They see what's happening with the weather. They see what's happening with the fake meat. Okay, they see what's happening with everything being sprayed on their crops and on their oranges and everything.
Yes.
They're seeing it now, and now they're moving. It is a quiet reverse underground railroad going on.
That's right.
Black people are going back to the land. So I say, all praise is due to Allah. And thank you, Trump, for threatening to get rid of food stamps. Oh, you messed up there. Now Black women are going back to cooking again.
Dr. Ridgely. Thank you for that. I'm chuckling. Sorry.
Yeah.
All praises due to Allah. I want to, as we get ready to wind down the show, bring in a surprise guest, and she's so beautiful. This is Sister Anisa Muhammad. I put her article back here, and she is a staff writer with the Final Call newspaper. She writes for us out of Georgia. She is the co-founder of the Joshua's Truth magazine. She's a self-published author. I think it's more than 5 books, but it's 5 books by my counting, and she will correct us. And she is a poet and a spoken word artist. Also, Sister Anisa is just a beautiful, beautiful being who walks in humility and such an educator. I'm so honored to know her and call her my sister. And also, I'm a student of hers. Sister Anisa, assalamu alaikum, and welcome to Liberated Sisters. Welcome back.
Walaikum salam. Yes, ma'am. Thank you for having me.
Yes, ma'am. She's so busy, as all of you are, and so I'm grateful she's here. We're going to give the next few moments of the show to her. Dr. Ridgely, Attorney Pamela, engage her, ask her questions. Audience, put any questions you have for her in the chat. And as you can see, we were speaking about one of your many stellar articles, Questions Grow Concerning the Death of Black Teen on Remote Mississippi Island, Horn Island. So, Sister Anisa, assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Would you like to give opening remarks, or Dr. Ridgely, Attorney Pamela, do you want to go right into any question you may have for her about her coverage?
No.
Is Dr. Ridgely, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Any question you want to go right into that you may have had for Sister Anisa regarding her coverage? I could, but I want to make way for you both.
Well, you go ahead, sister.
All right. Sister Anisa, any opening remarks for the guests? For the audience?
Thank you again for having me. You were correct on, 5 self-published books. Praise be to Allah. And yeah, I'm ready to get into it.
Thank you so much. First of all, let me start by asking about you. What age did you begin writing, whether it was your book or poems? When did you first jump into your passion for writing?
Yes, ma'am. I first started writing I was in middle school. I was in 6th grade middle school. I don't know what age I was, but I started with fiction and then poetry, and then eventually, I started journalism really. I was 15 when I started first writing for the Final Call. So,
Wow.
yeah.
15. And some of it, but not all of it, but some of it was for the youth pages, right?
Yes, ma'am. The Youth Speak section.
Youth Speaks, that's right. How did it feel to transition into major national and international writing? Because you all, Sister Anisa, has done some of the lifting for the Final Call newspaper with Brother Brian E. Muhammad, our now late staff writer. May Allah be pleased with him. He has returned to Allah. And our contributing editor, our senior editor, Brother James G. Muhammad, is now shouldering that cause for the final call. But Sister Nisa, how was it to transfer, as you saw yourself transitioning into that from the Youth Speaks pages into really doing a lot of anchoring for the final call? I mean, the final call.
Yes, ma'am. So, well, I went to college as a journalism major, graduated. So I graduated May 2020 during the height of the pandemic, which was
Mm.
um, but there were really no job opportunities at the time because of COVID. You know, a lot of those opportunities started going away, and so I
Mm.
think Allah really He wanted me to be with the final call, and that's where He led me after my college graduation. And
Mhm.
so I would say that transition, because during college I interned with the Telegraph in Macon, Georgia. So I
Mm.
had different experiences while in college, working with other publications and some of the colleges,
Yes.
media outlets, networks, and what have you. But I think the final call is another level because it's a trusted media source in the Black community, and not only, like I say, in America but also internationally. And so I think the transition was, I mean, it wasn't hard. I would say it wasn't hard, but I
Right.
think the articles we worked on is another level because of just the trust that our people have in us to tell the truth.
Right.
So
That's right.
yes,
We
ma'am.
had such a great managing editor, such a great trainer who became our editor in chief, Brother Naba Muhammad. I started writing under him. We have yet to do the tribute show for Brother Naba. I won't even go into it, but yes, I know that he really welcomed to like and really urged and pushed young writers to come aboard. So I really appreciate that. Let's get into your story, this one of many, again about our here it is, growing concerns about the death, the killing of Nolan Xavier Wells. What was some of the things that you uncovered that you had not possibly seen in mainstream or any other reporting at the time that you went into this story, like your investigation?
Yes, ma'am. Um, well, one, I want to say mainstream really didn't. I don't know if they picked it up now, but I know at the time of writing, mainstream media wasn't picking up the story, and that
Mm.
was an outcry on social media by a lot of our people in general on how mainstream media wasn't covering it. So in terms of what I uncovered is for the most part, mainstream media wasn't really covering anything about Nolan Wells and what happened, the search, the body being washed ashore, and everything like that. I will say we probably didn't have a lot that differed from the news outlets that are covering it, because there's a lot of questions, as there's a lot of unanswered questions, so there's still a lot of unknown information. There's a lot of rumors on social media. There's a lot of people talking, but there's a lot of unverified information. And so that was really kind of the challenge in distinguishing, like, okay, this is unverified, this is a rumor, and that sort of thing. But I will say what makes the final call in general different from all of these other outlets is the perspective that we have on our stories and on our voices. And so when you say what makes us different is like we're pointing out, like, this is a majority white city. You don't see that being covered in a lot
Mm.
of the outlets, but we are, this is a majority white city that he lived in. So of course he went to school with you know, majority white, predominantly white. So, and he had, a lot of friends. He had black friends too, which,
Right.
his parents have been outspoken about as well, because a lot of our people have been critical on social media, like, why weren't why was he hanging around white people? Well, it's predominantly white, so in that sense, you kind of also can't avoid that. But also kind of pointing out just really just the mourning, the loss. A lot of
Mm.
some of his friends' feelings, the coaches, the community, and that sort of thing. Really, highlighting like this. He's a real person, and he had a community around him. So
Yeah.
yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Sister Attorney Pamela, Dr. Risley, please jump in as you will. We have about maybe 5 to 6 more minutes before we close out the show.
Okay.
I don't want to go ahead.
I just read the article while she was talking, because I'm out here in the woods. I don't get my personal final calls until tomorrow. But
Okay.
thanks to Sister Pamela, she emailed me the article. And I mean, the thing that struck me is a red flag right off. He's a young black man, and he did not keep his cell phone with him if he stayed behind.
Right.
Yeah.
Does he? Huh? No. Young people, period, black or white.
Right.
They keep their cell phones all the time. And if you go stay behind, you would keep your cell phone. How are you going to communicate with anybody without your cell phone?
Mm-hmm.
No. I smell foul play.
Right, and that's one thing that his parents were basically like, we don't think that he would have left his cell phone. His mom, they went through some of his social media in terms of like Snapchat, and saying like he's a teen, he uses social media on a daily basis. He wouldn't have not captured some of what he was experiencing and that sort of thing. And really, one of the latest updates in that is Attorney Crump. Him and the family did hold a press conference yesterday, which inshallah we are working on a follow-up story, which will inshallah be in the next edition. But Attorney Crump basically was saying he met with the DA in Mississippi, in that part of Mississippi, and basically saying that they'll do a mutual probe of the cell phone. So he has independent investigators that will also be looking at the cell phone with the DA and her team.
Right. Because isn't it true? I think your article, it says that potentially there was some deleted text or information from the phone. Is that
right? That's what the family and Attorney Crump has stated in various interviews with media outlets and that sort of thing, that they suspect that deleted text messages, deleted posts from Snapchat, because he's a teen that actively uses Snapchat, and so to not have anything found on there, so they do suspect some of those deletions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Again, I think in your article, Sister Anissa, you mentioned how they got there the 4th of July, and by 3 o'clock, they're saying that he was last seen. That is such a short period of time that young man came up just missing. To me, it just suggests, assault, foul play, something. Such a short period of time as that.
Yes. Yeah, and there's been a lot out there. There's been reports of like we tracked the boat itself. There's been sayings of the friends he were with saying that the boat had complications, but then there was one media outlet that they tracked the boat from this was where it was at, and then it went this place, that place, and then it landed back at the original departing location and that sort of thing. But there's been different things like that out there about the boat itself, whether it was, whether it had like complications or something, why they left the island, whether he stayed back or, just like, there's just, but like I said, it's a lot of just questions on, questions and escalating information.
Yeah, so sad. And I think, did you mention that the autopsy had his body has? Are they doing an independent autopsy? Is that correct?
Right. So they are doing an independent autopsy. I know his body was supposed to be flown to Washington D.C., but as far as I know, it had, or results at least aren't. If it is in, then they haven't made the results public. But Attorney Crump said yesterday that they're still kind of waiting on the results of the independent autopsy.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Well, I just have to say again, thank you for all you do, Sister Anissa. You are one of the best writers I've ever really, read articles from, because you do an excellent job with some very, very tough subjects. So no, you're great writer. Thank you.
Well, I did read the article, of course, in which I was quoted. And I would like to say you did a good job of quoting me correctly.
Praise be to Allah.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. Thank you for the feedback.
Yes, ma'am.
And I implore people to.
Okay, well let's deal with the article that you called me about the Monsanto.
Yes.
And the issue that we didn't really get into was, as Black farmers, if you're trying to get the commercial farming, you're really forced into using Roundup. Okay, so the is bigger than what happens to the farmer who sprays Roundup, and some of them get cancer. That's big. But what Roundup and Monsanto is doing with the GMO Roundup ready crops, they're making the natural crops that grow seed, and the seed is viable for the next year. So once you grow a crop, you continue to grow a crop infinitum. What they're doing with the Roundup Ready is breaking that eternal bond, where they're forcing the farmers to take a crop that does not reproduce itself. You got to buy the seeds from them, the companies, every year. You cannot save your seed because they're unviable. They put a I call it a terminator gene.
Yes, sir.
Plus, we found in the crops, it's research been done, the GMO crops have a spermicide. So the fact that the Black farmers have been discriminated against in terms of Monsanto, and in terms of they should be given money accordingly. But the bigger issue is the fact that the government is still protecting Monsanto, is still protecting the GMO crops that have terminator genes in them. They're protecting them because, again, we're going back to the Agenda 200, Henry Kissinger, 1974. They intend to depopulate the earth. And the technology of saving the seeds, eating some of your crop, but saving the seeds for another year. It's a technology we developed. And then to back up that technology, we also taught you how to find water underneath the ground so that you can move anywhere on the planet. If you can find water on a riverbank or creek, or you can dig in the earth to find it underground, you could set up camp. And now that's being attacked by the data centers.
Mm.
So we're looking at millions of years of technology used to survive on the planet being destroyed right before your eyes. And because we're not paying attention, they're pulling us off. But fortunately, thanks to COVID-19, white folks don't trust the government no more. So they're out fighting a good fight now about these data centers.
Mm.
But thank you, Sister Nisa. You did a good job. I told you it would be a whole lot you had to scratch out. But you did a great job.
Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. And on that point of, white people, now trying to fight back against the government, even in this case regarding Roundup, really a lot of the pushback I found were from, I forgot what they called themselves, but parts of Trump's party who, believed in his idea of making America healthy.
Healthy, right.
Yeah, so a lot of them are upset about this whole thing, which was, interesting because, the house being divided against itself.
Yep, and here it is. They're still allowing to continue on what Trump got with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said that they was going to stop. And it seems like they cannot control the genetic modification of crops and the poisoning of American people.
Yeah.
After they know it's poison.
Yeah.
So it shows at this time the only person that America can trust is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Go ahead, sister.
Yeah, and you know what? I forgot, Sister Anissa. I knew you had written another article, and it's like, this was the article you wrote, the one you all are talking about regarding Monsanto and Roundup. And that was a very interesting decision by the Supreme Court because it really rests upon a technicality, as you talked about earlier, Dr. Ridgely. What the court really decided was that the EPA, which has this law that's kind of akin to a zoning law that says, hey, we determine what is labeled and what it says. They just said, well, you know what? The state courts, they can't make any rule that would upend what the EPA has said. And even Justice Jackson said, you're not dealing with the issue, though, because if the states are saying there's a dangerous substance and that dangerous substance needs to be labeled, you all just saying, well, the EPA, that's their jurisdiction, so we can't talk about it. You're not dealing with the issue. And I think as y'all are talking about this issue with maybe some of Trump's people and their displeasure, you're really looking at the states not being able to govern themselves. You're saying the federal government has the only right to determine what's on this label. And if they don't want to put that it's poison, the states, and you got a lawful jury award that found that Monsanto was liable, y'all gonna overturn that? So, setting up that fight. And Sister Dr. Ava used to always look at the fight between the sovereignty of states to rule themselves and all of that government overreach, the federalism. So
Everyone,
great.
yeah, forgive me. I got kicked out, couldn't get back in.
Okay.
Thank you for keeping it going. I would
Yeah.
love to give Sister Anissa the last word, but it would have to be the greetings of peace so that we just don't go over for the network. It's 7:00.
You have a question? I text you. There was a question that came through. You can't get it. One of your listeners. Okay.
No, it's okay because it's 7. I want to be respectful.
Yes.
I couldn't get back in, but it's in the chat. You can respond in the chat. everyone. And thank you all so much. Thank you, Student Minister Jamil Muhammad, Sister Anissa, Dr. Ridgely, Sister Attorney Pamela, and the viewing audience. Assalamu alaikum.
Like
Alaikum salam.
Salam.